While we were at Nvidia's big GTC event earlier this week, we also got a chance to check in with some of Nvidia's key partners, companies that can help bring out the value of their high-end chips. For example, Cisco announced a new AI factory architecture. They're developing something with Nvidia to help enterprise customers deploy, manage, and secure their AI infrastructure. Yesterday, I got a chance to speak with Jensen. He's the founder, president, and CEO of Nvidia, along with Chuck Robbins, the chair and CEO of Cisco, about this new announcement and what it means for AI security. Take a look. Well, here's a treat. We have Jensen Huang and from Nvidia, of course, and Chuck Robbins from Cisco, emblematic of the partnerships that we saw. These are exploding, meaningful partnerships. Jensen, what's it like to partner with Chuck to do some of these things? I need to know how these things work.
Well, you can't partner with a nicer guy, and you can't partner with a company with more might and more domain expertise. You know, there are two things that we're working on together, and both of them are completely revolutionary. The first one is, as you know, we've been inventing AI for the clouds, but we want to bring AI to the world's enterprise. And AI reinvented the entire computing stack, from compute, networking, storage, the operating system, and the way you develop the applications on top. And yet today's IT infrastructure, enterprise IT infrastructure, is basically the same as it's been for a long time. And so Chuck and I are going to go and work on re-racking that entire infrastructure. And there's a few $1 billion worth, a few $1 trillion, dollars worth of infrastructure built around the world, and we got to go reset that. That's the first thing. The second thing we're working on is, and this is an area that Cisco and Chuck's been in for a long time, and it's new for us, is telecommunications. As you know, telecommunications is also built on data centers. And that data center is about to get reinvented with 6G and AI. And so the two of us are working on a whole new stack for that.
Any one of these would be $1 trillion opportunity. I know that since you bought Splunk, you're even better at these things. So what's it like to work with Jensen and the Nvidia team, and how is it additive to Cisco, and by the way, to Cisco shareholders?
Well, you can't find a nicer person to partner with than Jensen. It's been fascinating. So Jensen called me probably 14 months ago, and I said, "You're the king of the world. Why are you calling me?" And we sat down and started talking about the enterprise opportunity then, and we talked about the fact that our technology stacks are super complementary. So we have,
even though he does have a bit of a competition, some of your products.
Yeah, but we talked about it early on, and I said, if our teams are going to do it, we're going to position our networking gear, and he's like, fine, do it. That's fine.
You're
with
a
me.
lover, not a fighter.
Well, he is.
We're both lovers. We're both lovers.
And
so now we're partnering on networking.
Yeah.
Nvidia.
So the last announcement we made.
Exactly.
He validated our networking within their validated architecture. I think we're the only ones you validated.
Yeah.
And then we agreed if a customer wanted it, we'll build an Ethernet switch based on his silicon. So we want to give the customers what they want.
People at home they're looking for business to consumer, they may understand this is actually far bigger than consumer. Right? I know it hurts to say that because we have consumers watching, but it's true.
It's much bigger. And when you think about the security implications of this transition that Jensen was talking about, they're going to be huge. And when you get into just the initial AI inference applications are one thing where you're going to need all this new modern infrastructure. But the second phase is this agentic AI that we talk about, and the need to reconstruct the underlying internet logic to actually enable agents to communicate with each other in a secure way and actually achieve the vision that has been laid out for agentic AI. That it's a complete restructuring.
Is the system that we have now ready for agentic AI, or do we have to throw the system out, put an all new system in?
Well, as you know, the computers that people run AI on are the ones that we're sitting in front of. That's what it looks like. And those systems are in none of the world's companies.
Well, then we have to place the whole world in this trillion. I mean, that's a $2, $3, $4 trillion opportunity.
No question about that.
Yeah,
you
agree too?
It's a giant journey, and we got to start it. And so that's why I called Chuck. You know, nobody knows enterprise computing better than Chuck. And so you know, we need to go and re-rack the whole world's companies.
I love that term. It's very, it's persuasive.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
well, you walk in these data centers, what it is, it's just racks and racks of technology.
Yep.
And I think we believed a year ago that the enterprise opportunity was going to dwarf what we've done in the cloud space.
Right.
And I've heard you say the same thing recently. So we think this opportunity is even bigger.
Put your business roundtable hat on. How do we help as a country? I asked Jensen this earlier. The country has to get behind you. The administration has to get behind you. This is also a competitive world. How are we doing?
Oh, I think we're winning right now, for sure. I mean, look at this guy and what we're doing in this space. And then the ecosystem that you see all around us here that's been built up around the AI factory notion. And clearly we're winning. And I would say, based on the conversations I've had with the administration, I know you've had a lot, they want to protect that lead, and they want us to win. And I believe that their policies that they're going to implement will ensure that that happens.
But if you're going to put a 25% tariff on hardware, it could end up being on hardware, that is an impediment to growth.
Well, we'll see where they land. I think that you were talking about tariffs earlier today. I think there's going to be a lot of logic behind where they end up. I think the reality of their thinking around reciprocal tariffs in some countries that perhaps are treating us not as fairly as they should, I think that's an area that they should certainly go after. But I think they also want to make sure that whatever they do, that they maintain this lead that we have and make sure that we win the AI race. Well,
you are both leaders of American tech, of course, international. You use international business. Are we? Is American tech, is the conversation as important as, do people get it? Do you think the average American gets how important what we're discussing is to their lives?
Well, there are two ways to answer that. Well, first of all, you were talking about international, Jim. I think that in no initiative and no foundational technology that I've ever known since the internet has the world and the leaders realized the importance of artificial intelligence to them. And the reason for that is because no country wants to outsource and let somebody else advance their intelligence. And so this is really, really important to every country, and that's why the conversation is so relevant. With respect to people across the country, I do think that artificial intelligence as a technology is in the forefront of almost every conversation. And so everybody knows about the technology and why it's important, I think. It's impossible for them to realize the social and the economic and the industrial implications of artificial intelligence. But at the here, we're mostly talking about the industrial implications.
Right, but at the same time, the notion of GDP, the Federal Reserve, where the economy, this transcends all of that. That's just not as important as we used to think.
Well, 5 years ago, we thought 5G was super important, and this dwarfs the whole discussion around 5G. Every time I went to Washington, we were talking about 5G and Open RAN and all these things, and they were all worried about it. No one talks about it anymore. It's all about
this is
AI.
Unbelievably positive. We have to put a value judgment on it. Don't we have to decide to either believe or just think that the world is flat?
Everybody is so excited about it because we all see the wonderful potential of it. You know, whether it's for science or healthcare or just economic productivity. I mean, we all see the insane opportunity ahead of us. You know, of course, there's also the wonderment of it. And
right. Right. You know that's the word. Yeah. Because that requires our imagination. Yeah. And we got to get our heads bigger. We have to, somehow, you guys, you're the leaders. You have to explain how important this is to our country and the world, because it is not, we're trapped by the four walls of our current intelligence.
Yeah. Well, if you think about one of the most powerful things of this partnership is we come together and we actually simplify enterprises' ability to deploy AI applications. That's when you start unlocking the benefits in healthcare. So the enterprise customers need help understanding, how do I do this simply and secure, and how can I do this in a way that I feel good about it and I trust it and it's secure and I'm not at risk with my employees or customers' data. And that's what we're going to do together. And I think that's when you're going to see this healthcare, the thing you talk about all the time with science and healthcare and revolutionizing cures for diseases, as an example. We need to go help them build the infrastructure that's going to allow them to do that.
To do that, we need enterprise IT.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's why enterprise IT is such a
And
major
then that
trust.
benefits the human in the United States every day.
Well, I want people to understand that. And you, both of you are great communicators. Chuck Robbins, who is the CEO of Cisco, $400 billion in 2000, but now much bigger in terms of what you can become. Much bigger.
Much.
And of course, Jensen Huang, Nvidia CEO. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being the leaders that you are in coming to Mad Money.
Thank you.
Mad Money's back in there.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.